WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish out bright future we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when Eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Yes, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of TACT-EAGLE. Today we're looking at Chelsea away, which is on Sunday. JC, how are you?
Yeah, man, I am very good. Just eating some of the spiciest chicken of my life, as I was saying to you earlier. But I'm good. I'm not saying I'm optimistic, but the Norwich game definitely gave me a lot more confidence than I had 24 hours ago. Yeah,
no, I agree. I feel like for me, I thought it was quite a mature, measured performance. Like I thought we were quite slow in the first half, but then I wonder if that was kind of purposeful. And obviously we played on Saturday and we didn't make loads of changes.
Yeah.
Second half we just went up a gear and then we lost Norwich pretty quickly. And I think that kind of performance also just gives us a lot of confidence. I think Norwich are a decent side, and I actually thought they played very well in that first half. I think when you're coming up against a decent side and you do smash them 4-0, I think regardless, you're going to feel a lot better. Good confidence for Eze, good confidence for Mateta, although even though he's apparently not doing his celebrations anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, just great for the whole team, really.
Yeah, there's a bit of a wild conversation, isn't it? One thing I want to know is, how did Edmund Brack find that out? That's the stumbling point, and that's why he's not doing the celebration. And two, imagine saying that to Parish, I ain't doing my celebration until I get my money.
Crazy, isn't it? I saw a tweet which I thought was quite funny. It was a guy who created the chant. He was like, I was just pissed on my 21st birthday and I thought I'd come up with a funny chant. And now Mateta is using that as leverage against Parish.
Yeah, I've got too much influence on my club or something like that, right?
Yeah. That was funny. It's a shame because that is genuinely one of my favourite.
It's so cringe.
Favourite Palace chants of all time. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a great chant. Okay. Well, anyways, going into the game, JC, do you want to take us through a predicted 11? I would do the thing, but I can't find it on
You have gone into the wrong brand. So you see in brand, you see at the top says Eagle Eye Football. Yeah, you need to go to TACT-EAGLE.
Got it.
Yeah, and
right.
I need to redo the background. Dan, you do the background. I'll go through the 11.
All right, calm.
Okay. So, from the last time that we did TACT-EAGLE, we've got 2 less players now, so they have swiftly been removed and replaced by worse players. So, let's get into it. So, for us, I've gone basically with the team that finished last game, apart from a few players here and there. So, I've gone with Henderson in goal.
That's Alexa.
Yeah, I just had to
give
shout
her a nice reminder again.
Yeah, just had to shout at her, give her a slap, unplug her. You know, here's what it is. Anyway, in goal. Yeah, of course. In goal, Dean Henderson. We're selling John Stone, 10 million. Is it okay? Yeah. I would like to say we should keep him. And I do still believe that if you merge the two, you get an incredible goalkeeper. You get the kicking ability of John Stone with the saving ability of Henderson. You'll have a sick goalkeeper. But I would say that those 2 saves that Henderson made yesterday, I don't think that John Stone would make them.
Yeah, I agree. I think I just feel like Henderson's a bit more agile.
And granted, playing out for the back is brilliant. It's part of our playing style. But I'll always take someone that's better at keeping the ball out of our net than someone that can kick a ball better. I'll take that every single time. But also, 10 million. It's 10 million pure profit as well because we got him for free. So it's not the end of the world.
10 million pure profit, and then you think we got Henderson for 15 million. If you take that away, effectively, you've paid. Well, not if well depends how you want to work it, but you paid 5 million for Henderson. And Henderson, on top of his shot stopping, I think he's an excellent sweeper keeper as well. Better than John Stones, better off his line. And I think when we play that high line, I think that is important.
Mm-hmm. Henderson, yes. Mitchell, Richards, Mark, Klein, and Munoz. I don't think there's any disagreements with that back line because I think that Klein does very, very well at that right centre-back role.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to need a bit of pace because Madueke, Mudryk, Jackson, very quick front line. And then also having Palmer to put the balls in behind as well. They're going to be a struggle to work against. And we'll talk about more of Chelsea's players in a minute. I've gone with the midfield that finished the Norwich game in Lerma and Wharton to start this game. I think that Czech was brilliant. Czech is amazing, but he's still coming back. Still need to give him a little bit more time. And, not everyone comes back from that injury the same player. And the calmness and the composure on Czech in that last game, granted it's against Championship team, he still shows class there. So I'm sure give it a few months of maybe appearances here and there, he'll be back in there, and then we can finally see that midfield two of Wharton and Decore, and that would be incredible. The front three, I've gone unchanged again with Eze, Mateta, and Kamada. I thought Kamada showed how much better he is if you play him in the right position, Glasner. If you play him in the 10, the composure in front of goal for that finish was incredible. The link-up play between those three is starting to come back a bit now. Like in the Brentford game, it was all over the place. But now Kamada's got a bit more understanding with Munoz, so they're sort of a little bit more in understanding now. And also the link-up play within the other two of that front three is starting to come back again now. So that is the starting 11 that I've gone with Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I went for exactly the same thing, to be honest.
Potentially, you could maybe swap a Sarr in there for a Kamada. I'll probably delve into that a little bit more later when I talk about how to defend against Chelsea and how we can also beat them. So I would say that Kamada or Sarr is a little bit of a talking point for me. Also, Edouard on the bench here, he ain't playing. John Stone, he ain't playing. And Riyad's injured as well, so Riyad needs to vacate the bench. Mm-hmm. For the Chelsea team, they set up so Mosquera basically plays the same system he did at Leicester. So it's basically a 4-2-1-3. So normally people play 4-2-3-1, but he likes to play a 4-2-1-3. So it's basically a 4-3-3, but the 10 is basically a second striker. So it's very, very, very attacking, and the formation changes a lot because I'm sure Dan's going to talk about it when he talks about how they attack, but it's also relevant when you talk about how they defend. And I'll say inverted fullbacks, my least favorite thing in the world. But
there's a lot of inverting.
Yeah, everyone's all over the place basically. But in goal, I've gone with Sanchez, with Cucurella, Colwill, Fofana, and Gusto. With the midfield two of Enzo and Caicedo, with Palmer in the 10, Mudryk, Jackson, and the hat-trick hero, Madueke. What are you saying?
Yeah, I went the same thing. I think after their 6-2 win, I don't see what they... I don't think they would change. The only thing I might suggest is maybe play Neto instead of Mudryk. But he started the last game, so I don't see why they would change it.
Yeah, also, they've got a very, very, very strong bench. Badiashile, the guy they bought from Fulham, the centre-back, Nkunku, Drewsbury Hall, Felix, Neto, just to name a few. Also, people that are missing from this bench that was in the last game, you got some really key players there as well. So granted, you got Sterling, but I don't think anything's going to happen with him because apparently Chelsea owe him 70 million in wages if they want to rip up his contract. So he ain't going anywhere. Disasi, he's fit. He ain't even on the bench. Chalobah, they banished him to the 23s. Carney Chukwuemeka, same thing, not even on the bench. And one that I was really surprised at, who's not injured, is Ben Chilwell. Nowhere near. He's not even on the bench in the last game. Their injuries only are 2 with Lavia and Reece James. And that's not a surprise. I don't know if it is for you, but it's not a surprise for me.
I'm just surprised when Reece James is fit and available, to be honest.
Yeah. Also, the fact that Chelsea bought so many players, when I was looking through their website to find out who's actually in the first team, most of the people that actually bought are registered in the under-23 team, and the website was so slow because there were so many players there.
Jesus Christ! I mean, I'm just having a quick look at their Wikipedia page, and you know how like most Wikipedia pages are probably like, I mean, obviously it's like kind of like that big.
Yeah,
this is like that big.
Oh gosh!
But yeah. Before we go on to some of the specific tactics, quickly go through the comments. Big up the dog. What's good? International break after Chelsea, perfect timing. Yeah, I agree. Actually, to be honest, I think it's been spoken about Glaston's slow starts, and I think the timing of that will hopefully just build a bit more time that they can be together a bit more, and hopefully we play decent on Sunday, and that will give us a bit more.
Yeah. Also, it's right after the transfer window as well. So you've gotten a whole extra week of no games to bed in your new players. So if it's looking like it's going to be an interesting last few days for us, that extra week is going to come in very handy.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with Lacroix. I think the bid was accepted today and we'd already agreed personal terms. So that's probably going to happen.
Yeah. So Lacroix is probably... Lacroix and Nketiah are the two that we're sitting here saying is probably done. But we are apparently revisiting Araujo now with an increased bid, and we're also revisiting Chalobah as well.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds happy to me. Rich is saying he rewinded to hear the intro again. The intro is sick. I'm not gonna lie. You guys don't see it, but like we got the little screens at the bottom, and yeah, I do like to have a little skank. Gay plays for new. That's just the word, isn't it?
No, we loaned him for the season. That's what the Newcastle fans are saying, no? We got him on loan.
Yeah, I guess so. Obligation to buy in a year's time.
Yeah, 10 million. Take it or leave it.
Big up, Kenny. Really, JC's non-stop beef with Alexa.
I saw Dan had beef with Alexa last season. I remember that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not in the same place anymore. So there's no Alexa in this room. So
good.
There's no reminders reminding me to do things. No Alexa nagging. Lerman instead of Hughes, how many times do you want to be wrong about Hughes starting? To be fair, you know what?
He had a stormer.
He did. Hughes did play well, I think. Hughes did play well, but I do think, and you'll see when I go over the tactics later, I think Lerma is going to be important for this game. I'll explain it a bit more later, but I think it would actually tactically make more sense to start Lerma than Hughes. You'll see later. If we've got 30 mil for Joe Gomez, I genuinely don't think he'll be a great signing. I think he's a decent player, and I can see the logic because he would play the left centre back role. But personally, for me, I think there's better options. Yeah, and there's better options, I think, as well. Also, he's played for Charlton, so he can get in the bin. Colin, big up Colin. What's up, guys? Chairman's in Bath. Nice.
In the bath or in Bath?
Typing from the bath. No, I'd rather not think about that. But anyway, Chairman, I hope you enjoyed your birthday, and I hope you enjoy Bath. Alexa's a home wrecker, but butting in all the time. nagging all the time to do chores. Big up JC and Dan. Good to see everyone. Big up to yourself, Tim. We have until midday Friday to register any new players that can play against Chelsea. Otherwise, be off international break. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not expecting any new players to be available for this game anyway. Big up, Rich. It's going to be huge. JC, put the axe away. Chelsea is deep, and that does scare me. But if we play like last night, we may have a chance. I think, yeah. And to be fair, I know they won 6-2 on Sunday, but I don't think they really deserved the 6-2 win, to be honest. Replace Jordan Ayew with Eddie Nketiah. I know Rich is fuming. Chelsea is the most depth of all time. They got about 500 players. They got so many players, they're not even allowed to register all of them. How many minutes for our newest Eddie come in? I don't think he'll be registered in time. And if he does, would he come off the bench for a little bit? Maybe. I'm not sure. Lacroix is not really a good sign. Big risk of those big attitude problems. Yeah, I remember you saying this before. I'm going to trust Dougie and Glasner. Obviously, if it blows up in our face, you are welcome to come back here and say so. Saturday can't come fast enough. Get the Newcastle propaganda behind us. Yeah, I think once that 11 o'clock on Saturday comes, I think everyone's gonna calm down. So. Raksaki played well yesterday. I haven't actually caught up with any of the loan signings. I know, didn't they? I don't think they. Well,
he played.
I swear Sheffield United didn't. Did they go through or not?
I don't know, but he played. He got one of the best ratings in the team. But Chris Wilder came back and said we don't want our young players to learn lessons. Blah 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 blah. Thinking, oh my gosh, just let him play.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him the number 11 shirt as well, so it's a bit weird they're not even playing him that much.
It's interesting. Rich saying he's good. Rich, you rather have Nketiah or Ayew? Deadline Friday for registering new players. Multiple blowouts on camera in the middle of the game. Pause. I can only assume what he does in the locker room. What, as in like he argues with refs and stuff, or... what kind of stuff? Okay. Anyways, let's get cracking with the tactics. Yeah. Who is going first? Who went first last time? Was it me or you?
I think it was you, so I'll go first with how Chelsea would defend.
Okay, right. With how Chelsea will defend. So let's go.
So, if you guys are over the age of 18, this is a drinking game for you guys. Drink every time we say inverted fullbacks from now until the end of the video. Anyway, let's get into it. So, let's set them up. So, obviously, we've got the 4-2-1-3 formation, which they do set up in. However, they don't really do this very much. So, let's get a ball. If the ball is over on this side, what you will see happen is you will see the fullback on the side of the ball push up and tuck in. And the rest of these defenders will slide over ever so slightly to create a back three. As this defender comes and tucks in, the midfielder that would be in this place will then press forwards and add into a sort of attacking pressing role. So Chelsea sort of look like this when they have the ball. So granted, this isn't very much about how Chelsea defend at the moment. This is very much how they sort of chill, how they set up, how they are with the ball. But I think the most important thing here is showing how exactly they do defend. So something that's very key here is that Maresca always wants to have 5 players behind the ball at all times. So if we are in a transition, so let's move these guys forwards a bit. Let's move our players into their right position. So these guys will be nice and close. Fullbacks up high. These guys in the middle. 1, 2, 3. So if Chelsea have the ball, they'll be sort of like this. Midfield, fullbacks on the inside. The other midfielder will join in on the attack or make themselves easy to pass to. But it's very interesting that they have these 5 defenders at all times, because I think that they are quite susceptible to being counter-attacks. And I say this because when they go forwards, they throw so much forwards. They really do. It's basically these 5 players, if you win the ball on this side of the pitch, basically in their half, basically count out half their team. They're not coming back. They're not doing it whatsoever. So you're literally, if you commit forwards, you'll be in a dramatic overload. So how they would defend if it was if we get a break and it'll be a 1-on-1 or a whatever situation. If Eze has the ball over here and he's running in, they will always commit 2 players into a sort of a counter press, let's say. So if they've got the ball and we nick it and Eze has a good run at the ball, gets the ball, starts running in, they will always start a counter press. So as they've always got 5 people behind the ball, they'll commit 1, 2, and as these guys are committing forward, so that their role is here and they step in, what you will see happening is Colwell will move over into the space that Fofana vacates. Cucurella, because he's already in the back line, will slot in here, and basically Enzo Fernandez or the midfielder, whether it's on this side or that side, they will then track the runner to the back post. So they will always have 2 people going in for a press and then still having their 3 at the back. Whether that is centre-backs, full-backs, defensive midfielders, it doesn't matter. He just wants a body in that place. But it does leave them very, very open. Dan, can you find the one issue that you could see with defending in this way?
Well, there's loads of space for Munoz, and also in that particular scenario, I guess it's 5v5. So if you get past one of them, that's kind of squeaky bum time.
Yeah. What I was thinking more of is if someone like Eze, who we know can do it, if he can thread a pass from here through these 2 players, then you put them in a very tricky situation. Does one of them step out, or does this line just retreat as Mateta runs into the box? And that is where player profile starts to come into a big shape here, because Cucurella, and I'll call him that, he has a tendency of being known as a left back, but not being very good at defending. Okay. And because of this counter press, you're taking one of your centre backs out, no matter what. So the back line is going to consist of one centre back, which is on the complete opposite side to where they started this game. So if they are starting on the left side, they will be now on the right side, or if they're on the right side, they will now be on the left side, with that sided fullback plus a midfielder. And I'm not saying this is for every midfielder in the world. I'm not saying this for every fullback in the world. But if you're a player like or Amada, would you be more comfortable dribbling towards a midfielder to try and get past them, or dribbling towards a centre-back?
Probably a midfielder if I'm the attacker.
You would go for the midfielder. So you would be trying to go at the wide angle. You try to hit the wide space. But because you've taken these players out, you've also got another attacking route. You could then go to the back post again, which has literally 0 people defending. And you want to know what's interesting? They've conceded some goals this year. Almost every single goal has been a flash across the face of goal and tapped in at the back post. So this method of defending doesn't really work, if I'm honest. And the reason why Chelsea had such a convincing win is because I do feel like they outscored their XG quite heavily against Wolves.
Definitely.
Let me get my notes.
In fact, they did. I'll tell you what XG they got. So the score was 6-2 to them. They got an XG of 1.6, and Wolves got 1.9.
Oh wow! So they heavily outscored it then.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, that is demonstrated by some of the goals that were scored. We were talking about before, like Madueke's first goal was deflected in, etc., etc.
Yeah, but what Chelsea really, really want is they want a mid block, because what they like to do is something that we actually do quite a lot as well. So even though our formations look completely alien to each other, they're looking like they've got a 5 up front, we look like we've got a 5 at the back, don't really know what's happening. But what they have is, because of this inverted fullback, drink if you guys are playing, by the way. Let me mute my phone, the group chat's moving mad. Because of the inverted fullback, you'll always have 4 people in the centre of the midfield. Always. And you'll see this because Palmer will be in the midfield trying to get the ball, trying to recycle play. And granted, we don't want to give these guys very much props because of what they have been doing. One is ex-Brighton, one is a pagan, basically. But they are very good at passing. So if they're popping the ball around, dominating play, and they see a run on the other side of the pitch into some space, that ball will go there route one, and the ball will go there every single time. It's like they've got an Anderson pass on both of these 2 players here. So we need to be very, very, very vigilant when it comes to defending. They will have 5 up front, and we need to be very careful with how we attack. Granted, the best way to get at them is a counter-attack, in my opinion. But how we need to defend, Ebbs and Kamada both need to drop in so it makes it an even match. 4 versus 4 in the midfield, so it's as even as possible. Granted, their personnel may be better in this situation, but I feel like it's the best way to sort of damage control when they have the ball, because the directness which Chelsea play at right now under Maresca is quite frightening, with the speed that they can get from one end of the pitch to the other, and how if the ball drops, they're recycling it, they're making the most of it, and they're making chances very quickly on turnover. Only issue with dropping like this, you are only going to leave 1 or 2 players to press. So if the ball's over here, you'll only see Mateta and Kamada, and you'll have to, and Munoz, even though it will kill him, he's going to have to try and stick with his man, because all these players have to try and be, like, I guess, as touch tight as possible. Only issue that I see with this is that Maresca actually does like having a man-to-man set up in the attacking third of Chelsea or in his teams, because if you have the ball, you can dictate where everyone else moves to. And if you make a dummy run, so if you see Jackson coming short, you know that Mark's going to have to follow, and then Caicedo can make a run. Obviously, Lerma can follow him, but it just takes that one time for Lerma to maybe switch off, and then he'll get through. So, how do we beat Chelsea? I'm going to start this by saying we need to be very lucky. We need to play very, very nice football. But because of how they are here, my best case scenario is we have to try and see if we can stretch the play as much as possible, because they're so compact in this area of the pitch. If we can get our front 3, which are very close together, if we can rotate them all over to one side, and then having the fullback on the opposite side staying high as well, we can then limit the usefulness of this inverted fullback, because this inverted fullback will not feel very comfortable going over into this space, which leaves a lot of space in here for a loose ball to be picked up by one of our players, maybe their players. Attacking the wide areas is the best case scenario for me. And how you do this is you look at who is probably the least press resistant person in their team. And for me, in the back line, I think that's Fofana. Passing stats, in this season, he's got 60% pass accuracy. And as a centre-back who has many just side-to-side passes, not that good, really. Granted, he has tried a lot of long balls. Pause that. Just beforehand. But it's still the fact that centre-backs normally get the most touch of the ball. And if he's not completing his passes, he's the guy that we need to have a press trigger on. If he's on the ball and he's looking up and he's taking 2-3 touches, trying to wait for someone to move for him, we've got to have a press trigger where we've got to commit 2 or 3 players to him. Because if we can nick the ball here, and that's even like the back 3, then you have a 3-on-3, maybe someone in behind, maybe a 4-on-3. You could create a nice overload. And I think they really struggle with quick passes, 1-2s, a striker coming short. They never leave their back line. And this is where I feel like Ismail Sarr may come in, because Cucurella and Colwill, that's what I want to talk on. So let's put them back to a back 3. Let's just put Kamada down there and put Sarr in here. So, Cunha, would you say he's the fastest player in the world, Dan? Cunha for Wolves?
Not really.
Decently fast, but not Burns.
No.
Cunha found a half space between the fullback and Colwill. So this half space in between Colwill and Cucurella, the whole game, he was standing at about this, in about this place, here or there, maybe a little bit forward, a little bit further back, but in a lot of space, sort of in between all of their players. And what they did is Gomez would pick up the ball, look up, and hit that diagonal here. And basically, Sarr would run through the half space between these two guys. I don't know whether it's the fact that they're not communicating or the fact that they're just turned off and they're not really concentrating very much. But every single time that ball went through, Cunha ran through that half space and he was in behind every single time. And the only reason why Wolves didn't score more goals is because whenever Cunha looked across, no one was there. Whereas if we could have a situation where Lerma puts the ball in, I know that Mateta, Eze, and even Mitchell will all be in the box waiting for that cutback. So I think that Chelsea are beatable, but we're going to have to be absolutely on top of our game, and we're going to have to put away every single chance we get.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think actually I didn't look at this. What is our Crystal Palace Chelsea head-to-head? I mean, our head-to-head is awful against Chelsea. We haven't got... We've lost the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games that we've played against Chelsea. So, yeah, I mean, I always think that, like, whenever we play a team like Chelsea, I know they're not as good as maybe they were a few years ago, but, I think they are a team that you still need that element of luck against. When I say luck, I mean taking your chances well. Maybe they don't take some of their chances, etc.
Yeah, getting a few good calls from the referee.
For
example, I think a prime example of getting luck at Stamford Bridge was when we beat them 2-1, where Fabregas scored in 12 seconds, then Wilf equalised, and then Benteke chipped Courtois, and we literally held on for the next 80 minutes. And I think that Tompkins and Dan both got injured in that game. So I'm sure we finished that game with Martin Kelly and someone else at the back. I think it was Delaney. And we somehow still came out of a 2-1 win there. And that was that Antonio Conte team as well. So that was a proper champion, Premier League champion team. I think they only lost 2 games that season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean by luck.
Absolutely, and I mean that was a great result. I remember watching that on the TV.
I was there.
I wasn't
stressful.
there. I wasn't there for that one, unfortunately, but it's a great game of football. Great game. Before I go into my bits, I'll just go through some more comments. So Tim saying Friday's going to be exhausting. Will be. Wait, so does it finish Friday night then? I thought it finished
Friday
Saturday.
at 11 p.m. is the
Friday
deadline
at 11.
to close.
Oh, why do I think it was the 31st? All right, fair enough. Obviously, Glasner thinks he knows how to deal with him, or he'd steer us well clear. Oh, yeah, in relation to Lacroix, I do agree. I think if Glasner was in doubt of that, I think he wouldn't be picking him. Very exhausting. Tim, we're going to go live for the last hour of the window. Yep, shout out. We are going to go live for the last hour. I won't be there because I'll be at work.
And if something mad goes off, we'll stay on for longer because it's a Friday, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm sure it'll be a great evening. Hopefully, if we sign players. Vodka or whiskey for the drinking game, whatever you like.
Rum.
Dom Perignon, bit out of my budget. I think maybe it'll have to be a bit of Ray. Bit of Ray. I've got a tall glass of water. Guess that'll have to do. Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, I ain't got no water, no drink with me, unfortunately.
The Yellow Palace kits are giving Alex Wembley semi-final vibes. Kenny's on the 6-pack of beers instead, so here's have to do. Tim's on the coffee. What kind of coffee, Tim? Is it? Where's it from? Is it Brazilian? Ethiopian? What is it saying? Tim, how about coffee ready for a spit take? I don't know what that means, Tim. And Rich is asking, how about a spit take from Spitfire?
No.
Just going to let that one hang there. Ramsdale done deal to Southampton. I think that'd be good for him. I think he needs to find somewhere else. Now Ray is basically taking his spot. Sounds too spicy for Tim. Sorry, JC. The dog is asking, what does Kush mean? Kusharella.
Basically means he's bad at football.
like a wild hog or something close, actually, to my understanding. Not sure what that was in relation to. Sorry, Kenny. No Sterling to Palace. I'm actually glad about that, to be honest. Won't dwell on it too long, but I'm actually quite glad about that. So what you're saying, this game is tailor-made for Munoz and Mitchell. Sign me up. Let's hope so. It's what some women in America call their kitten. Okay.
Yeah.
Agreed, Tim. Hope we have that dog in us on Sunday. See you later, Kenny. Thank you very much for watching, as always.
Later, Kenny. I just want to pick up on a tweet that got left under the Dan's promotion of this stream.
Oh, I haven't.
Everything, everywhere. We are seated. I thought that was class.
Oh, nice.
There we land. We are seated. Big up yourself.
Let me see. Nice. Thanks very much. I hope you tuned in. But at the time we did beat them, they were title favourites, and we were everyone's picked for relegation. Yeah, that 2-1 was quality. That was after our losing our first game in change round. They're talking about the home. Oh, was that the home game then? Last time we beat them, it was the home game. It was that. No. Yeah, it was that home game. We're going to smoke Palace on Sunday. Don't speak too soon. Don't speak too soon. That's all I'm going to say. Roybal masterclass. Yeah, it was Zaha and Townsend up front, I remember, in that game. Starbucks, Dan, serviceable, priorities to get caffeinated. I respect that. But you know what? I've actually never had a Starbucks coffee. I've never actually had a drink from Starbucks. Ramsdale now being a Saint. What does that mean? Johnson is now going to Wolves. I don't know. I don't know how that relates because Ramsdale was at Arsenal. But I think Johnstone will go anyway. To be honest, what you're lying? What does it mean? Look up in the comments. That's all I'll say.
Someone got it right.
Big up, Mikey. Thanks for watching. Where will Nketiah actually play, though? So, bit of a spoiler I was going to mention at the end, but we are thinking about doing a stream next week in the international break where we do talk about some of the incoming players and how they might fit our tactics. So, stay tuned for that. Big up, Earth Extreme. I'm not afraid. Hi, I was one who asked for the picture last night.
Big up yourself.
Big up.
Big up, Jay. We had our first famous experience, Dan. We had some fans ask for our pictures, and I thought, what, me? I'm a normal guy. What do you mean a picture with me? But I appreciate it a lot, man. We was all a bit shocked. But yeah, definitely come around more. You might even get on camera next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
like when we do the fan games.
One thing I have to say with the with Chelsea in particular, when you talk about the Towns and Zaha up front, against Chelsea we've witnessed the biggest butterfly effect in football history, and I tell you why. If that goal doesn't get ruled offside for Sorloth, he does a madness for us. He doesn't go to Transport, he doesn't then go to Sociedad, and then he doesn't end up at Atletico now. He stays at Palace and he does a madness. But because that goal got ruled out, he never scored a goal. So, that's it. If that goal went in, he wouldn't have left.
See, I wish I could say that, but I do think that Sorloth under Roy just wouldn't have worked.
Under Glasner, though?
Under Glasner, yes. If he stayed the whole time and was playing now, yes, he would be doing a madness. But I don't know, man. That's a long time to be saying that. Mateta did it. He was crap for ages, and he's turned it. So
I'm reaching.
Alex is saying there's a lot of revisionism here. And are we ready for the Sky Sports slot? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
But then would we get JP? I'm trying to remember when we got him, because I know we got him on loan, didn't we?
Well,
maybe we wouldn't have actually if Storlot had stayed.
I think didn't we get JP when Benteke left?
I feel like, yeah, because I remember everyone complaining when Benteke left, saying like, oh, we've only got like 2 strikers, or we got 1 striker, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I can't remember. Right. Well, anyways, without further ado, going to talk about how Chelsea attack and how we're going to try and nullify them. Let's go. Right. So, sorry, I forgot to put the share screen on. I just the transitions are so good. I just got carried away. But anyways, firstly, we need to understand how Chelsea kind of set up in order to understand how we can, really shut them down. Now, as I said earlier, I do think Chelsea's attack was very much overstated when they played Wolves. They had an XG of 1.6 and managed to score 6 goals. So, you can draw your own conclusions there. So, how do they actually set up? Now, a lot of this is obviously based on the Wolves game. I did watch a little bit of the City game, but I thought Wolves would make more sense because we're kind of a similar-ish level to Wolves, I guess, rather than City, although our form at the end of the last season suggested otherwise. But anyways, so how do they? So let's start from, let's say that they've got the ball. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to move some of our players forward a little bit just so you can kind of get an idea and talk about how they do it. So when they have the ball, they definitely build up from the back. Like, they're not the kind of team, they're not like West Ham last week where they're kind of happy to hit it long and direct. And actually, similarly to Brentford as well, actually, I guess. And try and hit us on a direct sort of counter-attack in that sense. They try and do things a little bit differently. They kind of follow the similar trend of, teams having the ball around in their own third and like their defensive box to try and draw teams in and then try and generate transitions. Like JC said earlier, they're very quick on the counter. I'll get to that later. Sorry, the counter. They're very quick when they do build. And that's kind of how they, I'm guessing, are trying to hit teams. But in terms of the actual layout, what happens is, as JC said, and I hope people aren't drinking too strong of a drink, but they invert the fullback. They invert the right back into midfield. So really, what you actually see, actually, no, let me move our players out of the way for a minute, just so you can see what I mean. So they invert that inverted fullback into midfield. So basically, what you end up having is you have, as JC said, the 10 kind of becomes like another forward. Palmer moves up a little bit, just behind there. Fernandez will also move up. Caicedo will move to the side, and then Gusto will move over, which then leaves 3 at the back like this. Initially, so as you can see, they've got the classic box sort of midfield. The reason why people like these box midfields is because, you know, you're effectively creating triangles between every single one of those players. And you're making more than one triangle as well. Now, where they do go a bit kind of weird, I guess, is that they'll actually kind of push Cucurella up a bit more like this. And one thing I did notice was that Palmer kind of stood in this kind of area. So you kind of have, I guess, what you could say is either like a 2-4-4 or like a 2-3-5, whatever.
A bit of a mess.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I know why they do it. They do it to try and catch teams out, because a lot of what teams like to do these days is rotate players in different positions. We do it as well to try and basically catch out marking systems. So obviously, if you're a player marking another player and you've got to run all over the place, you might lose that player, or you might knacker yourself out or something like that. That's why they tend to do it. But another thing that they do like to do, because you're probably thinking, okay, in their build-up, they've got quite a lot of, there's no one over here to use this kind of space. Well, actually, what they do like to do is Sanchez likes to move up alongside Colwill. So you actually have like a back 2. And then Fofana will move into like this right back role here. And then you do have basically like a 2-4-4 build-up, which is actually quite a common build-up sort of formation, I guess, in a lot of teams these days. But Chelsea like to use the goalkeeper as well. And that's even if it's a bit further up the pitch as well. Sanchez will come quite a far way to try and help this build-up. And obviously, then Jackson is like the lone sort of striker. Now, okay, you're probably thinking, what if you just block these kind of routes here? Well, they are quite good, I guess, at trying to find this pass. And if they meet this pass, they do try to just kind of like one touch it out of there. Another thing that they do like to do as well, let's say that they have been pressed into a corner over here, let's say, and they don't have any players on. Generally, because the team who is pressing them will generally move to one side, like they did against like Wolves did. What they do like to do is they do like to use this. They do like to use this crossfield ball to someone like Fofana, who can then control the ball and so on and so forth. Which is very ironic. They do like to use Fofana as an outfield, because I agree with JC. I don't think he's the most comfortable on the ball, to be honest. So that will be an interesting dynamic. And to be fair, I do think the way he plays also contributes to that pass completion. And I think when you have that combination of he's not the best passer in the world, but he's asked to do something quite technical, then that is, then that's obviously a recipe for not completing a lot of passes. Another thing that they do like to do as well is that, say for instance, Cucurella is inside here. he's being marked by Munoz. Sometimes what would happen in this scenario is that Cucurella might just move wide because that lane that was being blocked is now not blocked to the left winger. That's another aspect of something that they will try to do. Or if not, sometimes again, Cucurella is good on the ball. So I did see an instance where Fernandez sort of dropped into a space here. Colwill can't directly pass it because we have there's a player in the way. So pass it to Cucurella, who again, similar to what Fofana does or tries to do, one touch passes it into someone who finds space here. Now you're probably thinking, oh, Chelsea actually build up quite well. So why are they in attack a bit iffy, I guess? I honestly think that when they're further up the pitch and they don't have access to the goalkeeper, because it would be ridiculous him coming all the way over there, I do think they struggle. So generally, when they do get far up the pitch, and I didn't say how they get far up the pitch. So, for example, in this position, Fernandez will turn and run with the ball. They always try to make it so the player receives the ball with their body facing the opponent's goal. So Cucurella has made that pass to Fernandez, who will either be able to half turn or will already be facing that way so he can then run onto the ball. It'd be the same on the other side. If Palmer receives the ball, he'll want it so he can run that way immediately or at least half turn or something like that. They will run into space if there is space to run into. They will do that, and pretty much all the players will do that. But yeah, so when they get up to here, I think they are a bit because what you'll find is, so when they get to this kind of position, Fernandez will move up next to Jackson. The width will be provided by Madueke and whoever the left winger is, whether it's Mudryk or Neto. Cucurella will be an inverted fullback. And you'll kind of have this base here. So you have a kind of like a 2-3-5, which isn't an unusual shape to have, to be fair. I've seen that before.
And you've still got the 5 at the back that I was talking about, but it may just be slightly different. Maybe both the fullbacks are up and you've only got 2 centre-backs back.
Yeah. Again, like I think they'll rotate wherever they need to. Then they are very positionally locked as well. Actually, that's a good point to make. They are very positionally locked. Like for example, if Palmer moves to this side, Madueke will move inside, and so on and so forth. So it's a very rigid system, and Maresca was like that at Leicester as well, and that's arguably why they probably didn't win the league by as much as they should have. But I feel like when they get here, they kind of lack ideas a little bit. Because another thing I did actually forget to say was that Jackson likes to drop into the space between. He's kind of like, I would say Jackson in this is kind of like a false 9. I would say somewhere between being a false 9 and like an out-and-out sort of Mateta type striker. Like he will drop into this space and link up with players, and he is good at doing that. But when necessary, he will try to make these runs. That said, though, he's still a terrible finisher, which means that he's going to score on Sunday now. But so how do we defend against this? Let me just double check that. There are in the line. Fernandez drops in space. Uses switches. Yep, I've said everything I need to.
I think maybe that the fact that they, even though it's a little bit of defending and maybe a bit of attacking as well, but there are multiple times where if we've turned the ball over, they're very quick to try and win that ball back as well with a counter press.
Oh, yeah.
So there has been a few situations where like a team would be, they pass it around the back, they put it into the midfielder to then turn and play the ball forwards. But as they turn, Fernandez is standing right next to him and they nick it and they get a shot off in 1 or 2 passes. And I feel like because they've got so many people up high, if we can't get through that 5 in the line press, then we're in trouble if they nick the ball. However, if we can get it through that press, then you're up against their defenders basically. So it's very high risk, high reward in how they have their press orchestrated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's an important thing to note. And I think, obviously, if we have technically good players on the pitch who are press resistors, like Adam, to be honest, like a lot of our players, to be honest, you do wonder if that's going to play into our advantage. And obviously, because I said earlier, Chelsea play well when they're able to generate the sort of transitions. I think that's actually why they play quite well against City, to be honest, because they were able to generate transitions quite quickly. Obviously, if we and one of the ways they do that is by that counter press. And if we do manage to stop that, then obviously that stops a way of them kind of generating a transition. And I think that's why they struggle when they're in this kind of position. They don't really have... And again, I think this might be why Maresca perhaps didn't do so well as people would have thought he would have with Leicester, because they're on top. The other team are not camped, but they're in there. They've got a low block, need to find a way to get around it. And I don't think his tactics really have a solution for that. The only thing I would say is the biggest worry for me in terms of it is this side here. This side here doesn't really worry me because he might actually start Mudryk, who, as long as we manage to nullify his pace, we're fine because he's crap on the ball. Although he did score against us last time, actually.
To be fair, Mudryk was probably Chelsea's best player when they beat us at the Bridge last season.
Yeah, they were awful. But this side definitely for me, I would say, is the worry because, and we've seen Palmer do it. Palmer can get around players so easy. He's got the flicks and tricks in his locker as well. And when Madueke, who's coming off a hat trick, scored the weekend before, he's going to have a lot of confidence. So it's this right side our left-hand side there, right-hand side, that worries me, just because you've got you've got Madueke and Palmer effectively, potentially 1v1ing our players there. But that said, I do think, let's start from this side and we'll work back to the build-up back over here. So that said, I do think, and this is a hill I will die on till the day I die, Chris Richards is so much better on this side than he is on this side.
Facts.
And the reason why I think that is because now let's push all these players back up, right? Let's say that they have managed to, they've managed to do a transition and so on and so forth. And let's say Mitchell's up here, Madueke's up here, Palmer's here. Now, I think the thing is that, all right, let's just swap it for a second, and let's say it's Fernandez just for a second. So I think the thing is when players are in this position, right, when you're against a team that have got three and there's no sort of overlap here, I think the natural tendency, especially with like a person who's right-footed on the left-hand side, is to come inside. Oh, God.
Pause.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Is to move inside.
Oh, yeah.
Now, and I think, this is a theory, I think this then forces Chris Richards onto defending with his left foot, and he is rubbish at it. And that is my theory. And for whatever reason, he doesn't show them down the line properly, or maybe they're too tricky to do that. I don't know. But either way, they end up moving, cutting inside. And Richards, I think, because he's had to turn, now he's defending with his left foot leading. I think that's why he's bad on that side. However, when he's on the other side, say you do have Palmer, who is then going to cut inside.
Yes.
He's now defending on his right foot, and he's going to hopefully force him into traffic and so on and so forth. Now, that's my opinion.
It probably also means that if you get a winger that likes to go down to the byline, you'll probably find that Richards will be better on the other side, so he's able to block the cutback from the byline with his strong foot. Yeah. But wingers these days, they're all opposite foot to the wing that they play on. They're always looking for that inside pass, always looking for that inside shot. So just how players work these days is just a little bit different. Like on the right side here, as you've got for us, Cole Palmer plays on the right, left-footed. Madueke plays on the right, left-footed.
Yeah.
Pedro Neto plays on the left, right-footed. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
To which why Richards will be better in most cases on the left, whereas if you play against some like I don't think I can even name a team right now that's got a left-footed, left-sided winger. I don't think there even is one in the Premier League at the moment. But if that was the case, I think Richards would do well on the right, so he would defend on his stronger foot.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But it doesn't make sense in how But it's funny though that Klein is still very good at defending with his weaker foot, which is something that I think we all need to big him up for a little bit more than we do.
Then I do think I said this on Twitter yesterday. I do think right backs, not all of them, but a decent amount of right backs do suit this right centre back role. Because Klein is Klein's obviously a fullback, so he's used to dealing with players, and he would have been coached to deal with players who were either taking down the byline or cut inside. Whereas I don't think you really get that if you learn as like a centre back. And I think that's why we see him excelling there as a former right back, because he is used to dealing with that. And also as well, like on the other end of it, he also adds something in attack where I don't think Richards really does.
Yeah.
But that's another topic. But then how do we deal with this? Because obviously there's 5 there and there's 5 here. You know, like I said a minute ago, 1v1, Colton Palmer? Cole Palmer and Madueke. They could very easily go round these players. Do you know what I mean? And then, you know, once they're around them, kind of falls apart. So I think what we need to do when we are in these positions, we just need to be patient. I think we can kind of not worry too much about these players, because I think if we force them back, that's kind of fine, I guess. But I think we kind of need to move over a little bit as well. So Eze's going to need to help out here. Lerma is also going to need to sort of shield these kind of passes over here, and Wharton over here. And I think, you know, we just need to shift over basically. If they do a crossfield ball, let's say to Cucurella over here, by the time that ball reaches from there to there, we'll be able to shift this over and then just do the same thing and repeat. But that's if they do get to this stage. In my opinion, what we should do is we should try and get them in this midfield because, well, as JC said, they're a bit all over the place defensively. So really we want to try and hit them where they are a bit out of sorts, I guess. Now, how are we going to do that? It's a good question. So I guess really we should do it from when they start building up. So let's do it from when they build up. So let's put Fana back over there, Sanchez there, here. Cucurella's more over here. Okay, and it kind of looks again something a little bit like this, let's say. So we could go man to man, but I don't think that will work because they kind of want that, I guess, because they do like to play like the little one pass out to try and break the press, or they'll do that switch over. So what will we do? I think we do what we normally do. We set up in a free like this. This is going to block these kind of channels. And actually, it's going to be interesting because the thing is, and this is the thing that did worry me a little bit, is that because we like to push these players forward, right? But you can't really push the wing backs forward onto these players because of because, well, obviously, if we pass there, all it takes is Sanchez just to then ping it over the top, and Madueke's in acres of space. So we're not going to do that. So maybe what we could do is we kind of spread out a little bit more. So basically, we've kind of got like a zonal / man marking hybrid system. So you have Lerma and Wharton looking at the double pivot and also the box behind, who are also being covered by two of the centre backs, and then the other centre back just watching Jackson. Our fullbacks can push up on their wingers, and then if we pass to Colwill, then we can potentially just move Eze just a little bit here. So then if they do try that pass, Eze's got a quick way of getting to Fofana. And like JC said, maybe we build it in such a way where we kind of force it to go to Colwill. He then does that, and we want him to do that. So then as soon as he gets the ball and he looks like he's about to ping that pass over, maybe we even have Lerma and Eze moving towards him with JP there. And then, if there's any sign of trouble, Sanchez is going to have to drop back. And then we can move over a little bit and so on and maybe try and catch them there. That's what I would suggest. And that's where I think we should be defending them, because from here on, if they do manage to get out of it, then they're in a transition, which is what they want and is how they could potentially hurt us. And also the double effect of this, if we win the ball here, then obviously, we've got a good chance of counter-attacking them and so on and so forth. So just to summarise, they do play a bit funkily. They got a lot of, they're very, very positionally rigid, but they do have some players that can attack, that can hurt us. Low block, I think they can't really break down. So I think we should try and get them either in a mid block or try and press them high and so on and so forth. And the reason why, going back to the predicted 11, the reason why I prefer Lerma rather than Hughes is because Lerma is a lot quicker than Hughes. Wharton's not massively quick. So I think Lerma's going to be very useful to have, if we are caught on a transition and, Mitchell and Munoz are high up the pitch already. So I think that's why.
Mm-hmm. And also with Lerma, you get that, we speak about every TACT-EAGLE, that amazing jumping ability for defending corners. Because I know that Chelsea, they've not got the most big guys in the world, but they've still got Colwill and Fofana, who are both very good in the air. Caicedo, good in the air. I think Jackson scored a few corners this season already, just being in space. Like, not even like going man for man with people, just being in space. But if you've got Lerma who can jump that little bit higher, he might be able to get the ball out before it even reaches someone like Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think as well, as long as we're kind of, like, I know I said like Jackson likes to drop into space, I think we need to be wary of the fact that they do like to receive the ball facing our goal, or at least on the half turn, so they can turn quickly into that. We need to be aware of that. So I think as long as we kind of, if the ball does make its way through, we just need to make sure that we are pressing them quickly and making sure they can't turn and stuff like that. Obviously, like, they are good at popping the ball around, as we said earlier. They're good at popping that ball around. So we'll need to just be wary of that as well. But I think touch wood, and this is a wooden table, we'll be okay.
Cool.
Right, before some predictions, just final comments for the day. Can't wait for Nico Jackson to get 3 big chances and either bag a hay or miss them all. Yeah, I think he does it one or the other, not anywhere in between. Earth saying Mrs. JC's Palace video was cool.
Which one?
Yeah, which one, Earth? Mate, you're going to make me go to sleep. Well, if it's going to be a low block, then we'll see. I think that's spot on. So a boatload of diagonals from Chelsea vs Wolves. Yeah, exactly. Spurs fan here, but been watching your channel for a while. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Massively appreciate that. And thanks for thanks for tuning in. Thanks, guys. Good chat. I'm putting the farm on Palace as we're going to finally get 3 points of Chelsea. You do that, Don. You do that, Don. And thank you for watching. Leeds United, best team in England. Don't know about that.
Arthur needs to be banned. Arthur needs to be banned.
Get Lacroix done. Make him start as centre back, middle centre backs. Pass is really good. Yeah, I agree. I think he could play there. I think with him we've got a good dynamic because I think he could play there or right centre back, and then basically we could have it could either be Klein, Lacroix, Gay, or Lacroix, Gay, Richards whenever it makes sense to, and I think that'd be nice.
But the dream would be Gay, Araujo, Lacroix. That's the dream.
Definitely. Full ban on Arthur. He's asking why. Do we need to say why?
Oh, Leeds are falling apart.
Hopefully you lot keep Gay. Don't think Newcastle will suit him. I think he would do well at Newcastle, to be fair.
I mean, he's a Newcastle player. He's just here on loan.
Yeah. And he'll definitely be there next year.
Yeah.
Okay, best team in Europe. Fair. 70 years ago, yeah, maybe. Palace always smashes Leeds, except for that Bamford. Yeah. Right. Also think he overplays the offside trap when he's on the right. Wait, sorry. Oh, Richards. Yeah, no, definitely. 3:30 p.m. Not sure. Oh, right. The game time. Yeah. You're banking on Cucurella playing 90 minutes. Vega is a unit and better defensively. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll see. We're just basing it on him playing against Wolves. Do think he's weaker defending on the left. OTC, big up OTC. Also, Nkunku and Felix will make it difficult for the likes of Klein and Richards,
especially late in the game.
Yeah, definitely. When you got that fire to bring off the bench, then yeah. I think we'll go with Science game as a runner on the counter attack. Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely a good option to have. Pace against Chelsea makes sense. Yeah, especially if we're trying to catch them on that sort of transition. Might be able to hold off for 60 minutes, but Felix may just crow. Yeah, I saw his goal the other day. It was an absolute banger, and he's one of those players who could. Like we was talking about luck earlier. Like we just need to make sure players like him don't bang it in. Basically, Nkunku brings such a dynamic, it's difficult to defend against. Yeah, definitely. Tim, I'm nervous every game with our high line. How about Lacroix on the right? So we put Richards in his ideal position. Yeah, I think it could be any. I think we've got a few options to go with, and I think it could potentially change depending on who we play. So yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Finally, we've got 36. We've had over 30 people watching pretty much the whole of this, over an hour. Thank you all for watching. Massively
well over an hour as well. We've gone way over. Apologies, but not sorry as well.
Yeah, normally for anyone tuning in first time, it's normally about an hour. Yeah. And at this point, we'll just do some quick score predictions.
So before we do the score predictions, I have put a poll in the chat, Dan. I have said, what will the result be against Chelsea away? I've gone with Palace win, a draw, or a Chelsea win. So the win is obviously a Chelsea win, but that's with 45%. 43%. So it's going down. So more people are voting. Yeah, 43%. Oh, it's moving. Listen, I'll just read it how it is now. So 45% Chelsea win, 32% Palace win, 23% draw. So there's quite a lot of confidence for Palace to be getting points, no matter what happens here.
To be fair, when I saw the scoreline, and it was like, when I scored the scoreline last week, I was like, oh, for God's sakes. And then when I actually rewatched the game, when I rewatched the game, I wasn't, it kind of lightened my mood a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But score predictions. I feel like I threw you under the bus last week. So I will go 3-1 to Chelsea. Because we're never that good at the bridge.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change it. I'm going to go 3-2. I think it'll be a close game, but our record there is terrible. Our record in Chelsea full stop is just terrible. Regardless of how bad they are, they always seem to beat us. So, yeah. Sorry to dampen that at the end, but yeah. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. We really appreciate all of this. We appreciate this one has gone into an hour 15 now.
Yeah, remember to like the video.
Yeah, please like the video, subscribe. Next week, we're going to look at the incoming players and seeing how they're going to fit into Glaston's squad. And depending on how we play on Sunday, we might have a little moan as well.
Yay!
So... Right. But anyways, without further ado, thank you very much. Up the Palace.
Eagles! Eagles!